Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Joe Rogan Experience and the Fighter and the Kid, the show where we discuss dudes discussing things. It's like Inception, but a cheaper version with a lower budget. Take, for instance, this green screen back here. I just Sharpie green my bathroom door. So there you have it. This week, we're going to talk about all the things that happened, or should I say not all, but the coolest things that happened in the Joe Rogan Experience, Big Brown Breakdown, and the Fighter and the Kid. Let's start with the Godfather, of course, Mr. JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience by Joe Rogan. This week, we had 3 episodes in there. We had Tom Papa, we had a bonus Brendan Schaub episode, and we also had a Fighter companion. Now in the Fighter and the Kid world, we had a classic guest come back, Skylar Austin. We had a standalone solo, very Chinder heavy episode of the Fighter and the Kid with Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen. We had a Big Brown Breakdown, and we had a Fighter companion. Did I mention it already? I think I did. So let's go ahead and start with the Joe Rogan Experience. Let's teletransport. Let's teleport to the JRE studios. Well, the week started off a little bit slow. We had Tom Pop out on the first episode in the Joe Rogan Experience, and you guys were thinking the same thing I was thinking. Is this gonna be a bread heavy Tom Papa episode or not? Well, the episode was kind of mild. They went into some politic talk and some, social justice warrior, and some they were smoking cigars. So it was, we're really not gonna get into that episode. Every time we see Tom Papa and Joe get together for an episode, it's more of 2 old friends getting together and grabbing lunch and just talking some serious, people in their late 40s stuff, which is fun, but not as dynamic as the other episodes we see. So on to the next episode. On the JRE 1012, we had a Mr. Brendan Schaub. We call it the hybrid episode. Well, Brendan got to the Joe Rogan studios in his patented Alley Cat Bruce Wayne slingshot. So it's look at that. He would be a good Batman. I think Brendan getting the slingshot was a great thing. That shows that his social marketing and his it shows that his social media game is so elevated that big companies such as Slingshots are just giving him their product just to test out. It's just a smart move for the portfolio not to have those UFC shares. So we just don't know. But talking about businessmen, every time we see Schaub and Joe get together, we see that dynamic, almost like a teacher and a student. And we see, I don't know if you guys remember way back when Brendan had that loss to Travis Brown, and he confronted Schaub and told him that that's where the phrase "I think you'd be surprised" came from. But you've seen how Joe has been a mentor to Brendan and has taken him under his wing, and Brendan has been almost like created a doppelganger of Joe Rogan in terms of the success he's had. He has mimicked everything that Joe has done. He's becoming somebody that's an influencer, a strong male figure with fashion and sports, transcending. He's working with Showtime now, so he's playing his social cards right. He even went as far as kind of breaking up the rivalry he had with Dana White's, and I think that will make space. Enough times the water hits the stone where it makes a hole. So I think that we could see at some point. I don't know if you guys are gonna think I'm nuts for this, but I could see Brendan Schaub slipping in the UFC for a commentary or for working in the sidelines with Dominic Cruz or with Brian Stan now out of the picture. I could totally see Big Brown slipping in there and really making this exciting, since he has his brand strengthened so much, the Fighter and the Kid brand, Big Brown Breakdown brand, that we could see him get in there in the UFC and really make a positive change and maybe pave the way for Joe to retire and to do his thing. So he's actually being trained by Joe to become the new Joe. You heard it here first. Hashtag the new Joe. Alright, now we're gonna go ahead and go back to the Fighter and the Kid studio. Shift focus to the Fighter and the Kid, and this week we had some great episodes, but I think the one we want to talk about is the Skylar Aston episode. Skylar brought back, like I said in the beginning, that flavor of the silly songs and dropping knowledge songs, which I think that make the Fighter and the Kid podcast so classic. We remember those songs, and they stayed in our head for a lot of time and really created a lot of funny moments that I truly enjoyed. And this week with Skylar, he didn't disappoint. He came up with the catchiest phrase that I've ever seen in a podcast in the past month, which is "a juicin'." So they were going over different fighters and talking about PEDs. PEDs, man, it's been a big talking point in podcasts in the last 2 weeks. Also in the podcast with Skyler, we saw this little rivalry between Michael Rappaport, old lady Rappaport, because that's what he is. Michael Rappaport, he's funny, but with all the smack that he talked about McGregor, Mayweather, and he's a cool guy, but he looks like an old lady. He just does. He looks like an old lady. So I think that Skylar Austin is like a younger, more talented version of Rappaport, and I think that he's gonna snatch the Guest of the Year award from him. So let's shift focus from the Fighter and the Kid to some fight talk. This week we had an awesome matchup in the UFC, which was Luke Rockhold versus David Branch. And man, it did not disappoint. And now, no, I'm not going to talk about Triple G Canelo. Stop with that nonsense. I'm going to talk about UFC. We saw Luke Rockhold versus David Branch. On that, in this matchup was, I think they were both really evenly matched up for this fight in terms of physical attributes and in terms of fight IQ. Man, David Branch came out like a bat out of hell and landed some great combos on Luke Rockhold. In the end, Luke Rockhold, waited until Branch was attacking, so heavy, so fast. He was coming at him. He didn't give him time to think. I think they were trying to overwhelm his mind with offense, and they were trying to get him to be more reactive than proactive. So, but in the end, that plan drained David Branch's batteries, and he was taken down and dealt with pretty quickly by Rockhold in the second round. But he almost bingoed him in the first round. So that was, it's some good moments, and overall, it's a good win for Luke Rockhold. But I think it shows, that little chink in the armor. That when we saw Chael Sonnen fight Anderson Silva the first time, and by the way, both of them were juicing. We saw a little chink in the armor. We've seen a little chink in the armor in Aldo when he fought Korean Zombie way back in the day before McGregor bingoed him. But I think this shows another nick in the armor of Luke Rockhold. I think his years fighting also, he's gotten to that peak, and now has kind of relied on ground and pound, and his opponent's getting tired and getting heavy. So I can't see him being a lot of a factor in the weight division moving forward. Another thing is that when he was interviewing, he seemed like I don't know if it's me, but he seemed like a guy that almost was angry to be there. He wasn't happy of the post-fight interview. When you have Karen Bryant and all the guys of UFC tonight, Kenny Florian talking back and forth, he seemed really, his mood. See, he just won a main event fight after being 15 months out of the octagon, and he just seemed like he didn't want to be there. He seemed, I think the word is disgusted, the word I'm looking for. So I don't know where his mindset is at. I think he's someone else that can benefit from doing other things away from the game, because if you're coming back to win and then you're just like, GSP took this fight from me, yada yada yada. God, he's trying to build his presence off of other things that are happening outside of him. He's not making the show about him. And fighters, you gotta make the show about you. But forgetting a little bit about that, I'm looking forward to El Cucuy versus Kevin Lee. Oh, that's my fight of the year. That's gonna be insane. Cucuy versus Motown Phenom is gonna be off the chain. I'm looking forward, guys, to the next week of podcasting the JRE TFATK Big Brown Breakdown universe, and we're trying to make this show better here to fill the gap on Sundays and on Mondays that we don't have a lot of content from these guys. And keep tuned in. Remember to hit subscribe or hit like. If you don't like it, hit unlike. If you want to put a raunchy comment, put it down there, but put it. And also in the description of this video, I'm going to have my social media website, so you could go ahead and shoot me some cool comments down there and follow me, or whatever you want to do. Send me a pic. I don't care. But keep tuned in, okay, guys? See you soon.